Primavera P6 is a key skill, and knowing how to open and import the XER file type is a big part of that. This guide walks you through the steps you need to get your XER files into P6 smoothly. By understanding this process, you can use your project information more effectively, collaborate better, and improve your overall project management. XER files are the file type used by Oracle Primavera P6 to store project data like schedules, resources, and progress updates. You will often come across these files when sharing projects between teams or systems. Knowing how they work will help you avoid problems and keep your data safe. An XER file is a plain text file that uses a special format to hold a lot of project information in a compact way. Each part of the file contains different project details, such as activities, resources, and calendars. This structure makes it easy to move data between different installations of P6. When you understand this structure, you can fix issues and make sure your data remains correct during imports. You will use XER files for many common tasks. For example, to share project schedules with other teams, to transfer project data between different locations, and to back up important project information. Project managers rely on these files to keep everyone updated, no matter where they are. They also help with audits and compliance by giving a clear record of changes in resource use. Construction companies often use XER files to send project timelines to subcontractors. This makes sure everyone agrees on the timing of tasks. Organizations also archive completed projects as XER files, building a valuable collection of historical data for future reference and analysis. Before you import an XER file into P6, you need to do some checks. First, make sure your software setup is correct. Check that your version of P6 supports XER files. Older versions may have limits or missing features. Look at Oracle's documentation to see if your version matches what the file needs. This step helps you avoid failed imports or lost data. Next, review the XER file itself for any problems. Look for incomplete data, wrong formats, or signs of corruption. Use validation tools like the P6 Validate feature to find and fix errors before you start the import. Also, make backup copies of both your P6 database and the XER file. That way, if something goes wrong during or after the import, you can go back to a safe version. Now for the import process itself. Start by opening P6 and going to the File menu. Choose Import, then select XER as the file type. Browse to find your XER file and pick it. The import wizard will guide you. You will then need to review and adjust the import settings. Pay close attention to options for resource assignments, calendars, and activity codes. These settings must match your existing project structure. For example, decide whether to merge, replace, or create new entries for resources that differ from the ones already in your project. Also check settings for constraints and relationships so they fit your scheduling needs. After you set everything, run the import. Watch for any error messages during the process. When it finishes, validate the data in your project to make sure everything is correct. Sometimes you might run into problems. Common issues include a corrupted file, an incompatible version of P6, or missing required fields. Error messages can tell you what went wrong. A data corruption message usually means the XER file is damaged. A version mismatch message means your software and the file are not compatible. For these, you may need to get a fresh export of the file or update your P6 software. To make imports go smoothly, follow some best practices. Keep your P6 software updated to the latest version. Validate all XER files before importing. Use consistent naming for your files and projects. Make sure your data is accurate before you export it from another system. These habits reduce errors and save time. After you import the XER file, you can use the data to improve your project. Look at the imported schedule and compare it with your original plan. Adjust dates, milestones, and resources to match the current situation. This helps you stay on track and work more efficiently. You can also use Primavera's reporting tools to see performance metrics, which helps you make better decisions. The data from XER files also helps you plan future projects. By reviewing trends in historical data, you can improve your resource allocation and timeline estimates. For example, if you notice delays in a certain phase of your projects, past XER imports can show the reasons, like resource bottlenecks or too tight schedules. Addressing these patterns will make your future projects run more smoothly, leading to higher profits and happier clients. Keep a record of lessons learned and add them to your project management process to keep improving. To wrap up, make sure you have the right software and version for XER files before you begin. Get familiar with the import settings because they protect your data integrity. Following these steps will help you manage project schedules in P6 effectively. With practice, importing XER files becomes a routine part of your work. You may have some common questions. What software do you need? You need the Primavera P6 Professional Client, which is designed for project management. Make sure your version can handle XER files. How do you import an XER file? Open P6 Professional, go to the File menu, select Import, choose XER as the file type, browse to your file, and follow the prompts. Review any import options that appear. What should you do if you get errors? First, check that the file is not corrupted. Then, verify that the file version works with your P6 version. Read the error messages for specific clues. If needed, look up Primavera support documentation or online forums for help. By following these tips, you can handle imports confidently and keep your projects running smoothly.